it's Francesca and Suzanne again together from Under the Covers, and this week we are celebrating our 8th Blogiversary. So we've been blogging for 8 years. Today we wanted to talk to you guys about how we rate books, and I feel like especially between the two of us, because we rate books kind of differently.
A lot differently.
Yeah.
We rate a lot differently.
Yeah. We have done a post on the blog already about this, and I will leave a link down below so that you can also see the points of view from Annie and Angela on some of these things. But today we will give you our opinions on negative reviews, and basically we'll go through each rating and tell you generally when something would land on that rating for each of us individually.
Yeah. And it might be slightly different, so a 3-star review from me is different to a 3-star review from Francesca, because we're really awkward that way.
Yes.
And it will be different for Annie and Angela as well. But that post we did was in 2015, so
things may have changed.
This is up-to-date information, guys.
Yes.
So first of all, we wanted to talk about negative reviews, and I know that out of all of us, tend to rate things the lowest. And we do post those reviews. We post DNF reviews, we post 1, 2 and 3-star reviews. Because our blog is not necessarily for the authors, it's for the readers. We want them to see us as honest reviewers, so if we don't like something, we will tell you. We won't just, I guess, lie in a review or just not post anything. We want you to see what we didn't like, and sometimes what I don't like in a book, and there is a long list of those things sometimes, is something that somebody else really likes. So a negative review doesn't always mean that it's not somebody else's crack, you know?
Yeah.
So
I also feel like with negative reviews, it also gives the reader or whoever's following our blog a really good sense for what we like as a reader, and I feel like it gives the person a chance to see who they identify with in terms of reading taste. So like if you generally don't like the things that Suzanne likes, and then maybe you're gonna like the things that she likes. So I think it's also about reading taste.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. So also with negative reviews, or not necessarily negative reviews, just reviews that have a low star rating, I feel there are ways to do those kind of reviews. You need to stay, even if you hate a book, you still need to stay very respectful to the author, because it's not the author that you hate, you just didn't like the work that they've produced. So when I'm doing a negative review, I do tread that line of still being respectful to the author. There are times when a book has made me genuinely angry, and that is reflected in the review, but like I said, I want to be honest, and those are the feelings that this book provoked in me, and I guess I want to share that with you guys. But even when I'm angry, I'm still not name calling the author. I'm just giving you like the honest reaction that this book gave me. Like, this book made me really angry, so therefore I'm letting you know that that's the reaction that I had to that book. And Francesca has been on the receiving end of me like being angry at a book. But there are ways of doing a negative review. I do not, even if a book's made me angry or made another reviewer angry, I don't stand by somebody who is then really disrespectful to the author. Because
reviews should never be a personal attack.
No, they're just expressing your view on the 300-400 page book that you have just read. So those are our views on like why we post negative reviews and kind of a little bit of how we go about it. So now we're going to talk about when we post reviews and the stars we give it, what that means, like how we felt about it. So we're going to start at DNF and then work our way up to 5-star reviews. So DNF, Francesca, what does that mean to you?
So usually I will DNF a book because it's boring me to tears. There has to be a reason why I need to push myself to read something I'm just not interested in, and that could mean the writing style, it could mean the characters. If I'm just really bored and I'm not interested and I don't want to pick it up, I have gotten better about DNFing. Years ago I used to push myself to read everything because, you know, I have like OCD about finishing stuff, but I'm much better now. So now there really has to be a reason for me to not to DNF and for not to DNF. So especially with reviews, I know Suzanne will post a DNF review. I personally don't post DNF reviews. So if I want to post a review because either the book was making me really angry or anything like that, then I have to force myself to finish reading it. So that's where I go in from a DNF to a 1 star. So I just have to be very indifferent to DNF it.
Okay. So yeah, I do post DNF reviews, but I kind of DNF for different reasons. So this year I am DNFing books that I think that I will give less than 3 stars, because like Francesca said, like, who's got time for that? I want to leave, because my average star rating is a lot lower, and I want to get that up, guys. So I'm trying not to post so many 3-star, 2.5, 2-star reviews. So a DNF for me could be, like Francesca said, I just didn't like it, didn't like the writing style, didn't like the characters, didn't like the story, so I just couldn't finish it. But it could also be that it was okay, but it was never gonna get 3 stars or more, so I decided to finish reading it. And I'd say if you read one of my DNF reviews, you'll quickly be able to see like what kind of book, the reason that I DNF'd it. I'll say it's because I was bored and I was never going to give it more than 2.5, or that something about it really annoyed me enough or made me indifferent enough that I just was bored of and didn't want to finish it. So that's my DNFs.
Yeah. A little bit different.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes some of them were quite similar on.
Yeah,
and it's normally the one extreme or the other, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So with the getting angry about something, that is what I just said is my 1 star. It's something that I really had to force myself to finish, and I have something to complain about. So because I want to write that review, whether it's because it's glorifying something that I don't agree with, or I don't know, maybe the fact that I was bored, but there's a reason why I think that I need to put that out. So if I have feelings that I need to put in a review, I will force myself, and that tends to get 1 stars.
I actually kind of agree with you. I don't like to think that I hate read.
Yes.
But sometimes
I feel like the 1 stars
I do. I think sometimes maybe I
line.
do.
Yeah.
That I've read it and it's like causing a very negative reaction in me. There are some books I've read and I just cannot believe what I'm reading, that it's romance. And so I'll finish it because I really need to write that review. I really need to, it's like therapy. I need to get these feelings out that I've had about this book. So for me, sometimes 1-star review books I've disliked a lot more than I've disliked a DNF, because DNF normally means indifference.
Yeah.
1 star normally means that it's made me mad. It's made me, I forced myself to finish it, and I don't like to say that I hate read, and I do very rarely do 1 stars, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But it's touched maybe a really sensitive subject within me, and I feel like I need to say what I think about that, because it's genuinely upset me.
Conversation.
Yeah, it's made upset me, like, but in a really negative way. And I don't want to keep that in. I'm going to share it with you guys. So yeah, the 1 stars for me, like if I give 1 stars, it's probably means I've disliked it a lot more than I've disliked a DNF actually, when I'm sitting thinking about it. So yeah,
exactly the same for me.
Yeah.
And then I don't think that I rate 1.5
I do
too much, or if I do, it's more of a gut feeling at the moment between a 1.5 and a 2. So I don't know that I'm very specific with my 1.5. So if you are more specific.
1.5, I like, it did make me quite as angry as a 1 star maybe. I recently did rate Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan 1.5 stars, but it didn't make me angry. It was, in my mind, just really poor. It was just a really weak story with really weak characters, and I couldn't quite bring myself to give it 2 stars, but it didn't make me angry, so I didn't want to give it 1 star. So it fell in the middle at 1.5.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So
yeah, and I feel like with the 2 stars for me, there has to be something that was redeeming about it. So whether it was world building, if it's like a fantasy novel, or maybe if the world building was bad, maybe the character, maybe one character or a side character. There had to be something that was a little better for me to get to a 2 star. But I still didn't like it.
Yeah, same-ish. So I liked it a little bit more. Nothing made me angry, but nothing really made me like it. maybe there is a kind of character or maybe there's an idea behind the book that I liked, or a character that had potential, but nothing was ever realised in this book. It was maybe there was something that could have been built upon, but the skill of the author wasn't good enough to bring that out. So it was like, it was okay, but it's probably unlikely that I would read, if it's a series, the next book.
Yeah, for me a 2-star or 2.5 would never mean that it was okay. It means I didn't like it.
A 2.5 normally means that it's like, it's basically out of 10, right? So it got 5 out of 10. And 5 out of 10 isn't bad, it's just smack bang in the middle of being a book that you will never remember that you've ever read. Right?
For me, that would be, I know that makes sense,
yeah,
on that end, but to me, that's where I put my 3 stars. The ones that were okay, but forgettable. So the 2.5, once I cross below the 3-star, for me, it means I didn't enjoy the book.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, 3 stars means I liked it slightly more, but it's still forgettable. 2.5 is like, I never remember it. It wasn't great. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't great. It was just slightly below average, but readable. Readable, right?
Yeah, for me 2.5 is still not readable.
No, it's like readable but forgettable and kind of bland.
Yeah. So that is actually the description for me for my 3 stars, which
okay.
I happen to have a lot of them. But yeah, bland, forgettable, but readable.
Yeah. So 3 stars is, I liked it, it was okay. Again, forgettable, but you know, it was okay, I liked it. There's a possibility that I might read another book by this author.
Yes.
Or read the rest of the series. But also, and this is where we really differ, I really like cheesy books. A lot of my cheesy sci-fi is rated either 3 or 3.5. Because after 3.5 is stuff that means for me that it was really good. And I love cheesy sci-fi, but it's cheesy, it's not always well written. They can get kind of samey, but I obviously love it, so I don't mind keeping reading it. So I really, personally really enjoy it and will probably reread it, and I'll read the rest of the series, but I know the writing isn't great, nor particularly original, but I read it anyway because I like it. And for me that doesn't warrant like a 4 or 5 star rating.
Yeah, that's definitely where we are
yeah.
the most different, because for me, I rate things based on my level of enjoyment. So if I really love something, whether I know that that's cheesy or not, I rate it on my enjoyment.
I mean, I do. I mean, because some of them are technically really awful, but I love them anyway, and I'm never going to give that 5 stars. I'm just not. They could be, some of them need to be edited a bit more, or I don't know, but I mean, I love them, like genuinely, like I read so many of them. Yeah,
that's definitely where I'm like, how is it that you love something and it's still a 3.5?
Oh, there are ones that have gone to 4 stars. I mean, there are some, like Tiffany Roberts, some of her books are 4 stars because I really think they're genuinely very good. But I think if you like some of the sci-fi romance, the quality of it is just not as high as something in maybe the historical contemporary romance genre, and so therefore I don't rate it as highly, even though my personal enjoyment might be hitting 5 stars, but technically I don't think really the book is any good, better than 3 or 3.5.
I guess I don't have that experience because I don't read books like that, so maybe that's where that's coming from.
I read them all the time, and if you read my review of a 3-star or 3.5 star book,
she really liked it.
You can tell that I really enjoyed myself. So but they're just, as a general rule, they just don't have the same quality as stuff that is a normal contemporary romance or a paranormal romance or an urban fantasy. Like, they just don't have that level. And I'm sounding really insulting, but I'm not trying to be. Like, authors like Ruby Dixon, Tiffany Roberts and a few others, like, they're great, they're really well edited, I really love the stories and the characters, so they get 4 stars quite a lot. But some of the others, and I'm not naming any names, if you look you can see the ones I've rated 3 and 3.5 stars, and I've loved them all. But I think if Francesca read them, she would give them 1 star or possibly a DNF.
This is possible.
Yeah.
However, I do think I have different expectations for different genres.
Yeah.
So where I probably have lower expectations, or as long as a certain genre delivers on the key points that I'm expecting from that genre, maybe it'll get a 4-star, whereas maybe it wasn't as strong or as impressive, and maybe it can be forgettable. So I definitely think that different genres, I rate them, I handle them differently.
See, I don't. I like...
And I don't have like a guide for how that happens, it's just all in my head.
I don't. They all get rated on the same scale, which is why, because if I had a separate scale for sci-fis as opposed to urban fantasies, then I would be rating a lot of 5 stars, a lot of 5 stars for the sci-fi.
Yeah, which is probably why I feel like that's where we're different, because for me it is enjoyment, and I have certain expectations of what my enjoyment of a certain genre is going to be, so if it's delivering that, I'm happy.
Yeah. Basically, you need to read the reviews and not look at the ratings. Because we all do it so differently.
Yeah. But, I mean, I feel like you can get used to how we rate things, or whether we really liked something. But yeah, definitely 3s and 3.5 for me. It was okay. I probably will read the author again. Maybe, maybe not. 3.5, most likely I will still read the author, or maybe even continue the series. 3s, it's on a case-by-case basis.
3, I liked it. 3.5, I really liked it.
Yeah, 3.5 it's not really liked it. I feel like my really liked it would be 4. So 3.5, it was maybe a little bit less forgettable. There was something that was done well in that forgettable scenario.
But if you look at a review of mine of a contemporary 3-star romance book compared to a sci-fi alien 3-star, you'll see that my enjoyment level is much more for the sci-fi. If I've rated a contemporary romance 3 stars, it's because
it was planned.
Yeah, whereas my 3 and 3.5 is more on kind of sometimes consistency and like the editing, or something to do with the book for a sci-fi romance. Yeah. I find it really hard to articulate, but I think if you read the books, you would probably know what I meant. So read lots of alien sci-fi romance. I do recommend it. Yeah. So next, 4 stars. We've already touched on this a little bit.
We sort of touched on it. I feel like 4-star is my kind of average, but not really. I feel like it's either a 3 or a 4, my average. Yeah. But that means I liked it. Yeah. I really enjoyed it. So it's something that probably has something that will make me remember that book. Yeah. Generally. And I really like the author's writing style. So I think that's usually a pretty solid read, solid recommendation for me. Yeah.
So 4 stars, it's above average. I really liked it. I would definitely continue it. I would have liked, like you said, the writing style and the characters and the plot line. Probably a little bit of room for improvement. It wasn't like the perfect book, but 4 stars. It was good, and I really liked it, and it was one that I would recommend to people. Yeah. It may have provoked either more positive. It might have made me laugh. If a book can make me laugh, there's guarantee it's getting at least 3 stars. Because I really like comedy books, but anything that provokes any kind of positive emotion, not anger emotions, positive emotions in me, is probably likely to start on that 4, 4.5, 5-star spectrum. Yeah.
So I feel like with 4.5 is where I start to take into account whether the book is actually drawing out any emotion for me. And it doesn't have to always be positive or a comedy type of stuff, but maybe it's making me think about something, or the character development is a little bit deeper, the storyline is a little bit deeper. So if the author can do that well, usually it'll bump up to a 4.5 for me.
Yeah, I agree. So if it can provoke any kind of emotion in me, that leaving anger aside, so then it's definitely getting into 4.5, 5 territory. If it can make me really sad, or really happy, or just gripped, then I need to know, or really tense, a tense thriller where you are generally I need a massage after this book. They will get to the 4.5, 5-star review for me. I
feel like the 5-star, basically it's everything I just said about the 4.5, but it's also a book that I know will stay with me, so it's a story that I will probably be thinking about 6 months, a year down the line, it's something that I'm going to remember. And when I think about it, it's going to bring back all those emotions again, because the author really made me connect with the story. So those are not so often, and that has changed for me by leaps and bounds from what it was a few years ago. So like, I look back at some of my 5 stars from before we started the blog,
maybe
and I don't want to think about it. I'm
the same.
I'm a lot pickier with my 5 stars.
I am a lot pickier than I used to be when we first began, and even before we started the blog with my 5 stars. I do rarely give them out, because for me a 5-star book needs to be, it's 10 out of 10, isn't it? It needs to be as perfect as anything can be. It needs to be really well written. It needs to have characters that I really like and I remember. The writing style needs to be good, and I guess it has to be different well, maybe not even different in some way. Sometimes just a well-written book in something that's quite well trodden, like it's brilliant. But normally there's something different, or that's made me think about something. That is a 5-star book. So like Forever Wolf by Maria Vale, I cried reading it, not because it's sad, it just, I was so emotional, it just made me cry. And then a month later, because I'm terrible, by the way, guys, at writing reviews as soon as I finished a book. So I
never do either.
So a month later, I was writing the review for Forever Wolf, and I started crying again, because I was sat there thinking about the book and how much I liked it. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm crying again. Like, this book just does not give up. And Transcendence by Shay Savage is one I did recently. And you look at the cover and you think, this is just going to be really trashy, and like a really trashy, stupid book. But then I started reading it, and it was amazing. And the ending, once again, I was so emotional. It wasn't an unhappy ending, but it was an emotional ending. And like started crying.
I've totally done that.
Yeah, like it's like nothing bad has happened. I don't want to give away what happens at the end of Transcendence. Nothing like unexpected or bad happens. It's just so emotional. I was just like, oh my god, it's so
that means the author did their job very well.
And so that one got 5 stars as well. See, I can remember the 5 stars I give, because I don't give them out.
I feel like last year I only gave like maybe 6 books 5 stars, and this year I actually have had at least one every month, so I am very happy about that.
There's the 2 that I can remember. I think I have given out a few more so far this. I feel like maybe there's one a month on average.
Yeah, well, that was not my average last year for sure. So I'm happy about that. And you know what, actually, there's been a lot of historical fiction in my 5 stars, so I guess I tend to not give 5 stars as much to contemporary romance. Like straight contemporary romance, it's really hard for me to do that.
It's a massively flooded market, and I guess it's hard to get something that stands out so much as a 5-star read, because normally they're at a certain quality level anyway, and then to get above that is hard.
And I think it depends on my mood too. So
for sure.
Like, what's gonna push that book from a 4.5 to a 5? Sometimes it's just my mood, to be really honest. Maybe. Like, I feel recently with Top Secret by Elle Kennedy and Serena Bowen, it could have gone either way, so I went with 5. Could have been a 4.5. It's definitely something I'm gonna remember, but it could have gone either way, so that was totally a mood decision between one and the other.
I'm not surprised, because you did really like that.
I did really like it. I really enjoyed it.
I'm trying to think of other 5 stars, but I can't think of anything else.
Oh, I had historical fictions. I had When We Left Cuba by Chanel Clayton, Amy Harmon, What the Wind Knows, Lisa Kleypas, Devil's Daughter.
I was thinking that Lisa Kleypas normally...
Yes.
There's some authors that I don't want to say that we rate them 5 stars before we've read them. However,
we have that expectation.
I have that expectation. Normally, Alona Andrews and Lisa Kleypas, possibly Nalini Singh I can be up and down with, but Nalini Singh.
But I feel like Nalini Singh, I have the expectation of at least a 4-star. So I start there for sure.
I mean, there are some that Allegiance of Honor. You don't think you read that? You don't need to read that. It's fine.
I DNF'd that.
I read it because I'm like, when's the romance start?
I was like, Suzanne, do I need to keep reading this, or could I just skip this and go to the next book?
I can't remember what I gave that book, but it wasn't as high as
It wasn't one of her best books, yeah.
No, it was really strange.
Yeah.
I didn't quite understand the thinking behind Allegiance of Honor. However, I'm reading Wolf Rain now and it's amazing. So,
yeah. Usually that's the expectation with Nalini Singh, because she is one of our favorite authors.
Yeah.
So, full disclaimer.
Yeah, there's some authors you'll notice, like, oh, always gets quite high. And
but I think that's also because
Jeannie Frost
we generally just like the writing style of that author. So as long as they're keeping that level of writing with the same sort of characters and what we've come to expect from them or from that series, that's why they generally get the same ratings or about the same ratings. Yeah, for sure.
So the moral of this video is we're really inconsistent with how we rate our books. So read, but the review
we're really
itself,
inconsistent in, like, if you see a 3-star from me and a 3-star from her, it's gonna mean something different.
Yeah.
But
because
we are consistent in our own little world.
Yeah, and I find some of them, especially the difference between a 3 and a 3.5, and even a 2.5, are really close for me. And also how I like different genres, like they're not quite different expectations, but the reviews feel differently. But I am rating it on the same scale. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not that my personal enjoyment is incidental to a review, to how I rate a review. It's just that if the writing's not good, I do take in consideration how I think well the story's been structured and how good the writing is and how great the characters are, like in a more objective sense, which like is why some books I love are only rated 3 and 3.5 stars.
I will take into consideration all of that. However, if the editing didn't pull me out of the story, technically, if I enjoyed the story, I will still rate it high. If the editing was actually something that kept making me pause or making me have to reread something a couple of times, then definitely that will get a lower rating because of that. But other than that, I don't think that that's something that I will start taking points off just because, oh, it needed a better editor. So, totally on enjoyment for me.
But sometimes, like, the story structure and stuff, it's what the author has put together, and if I don't think it's a very well thought out world or structure to the story, it's not something that editing really, it might cover, but
but I do feel like the plot and the world building, especially if it's a fantasy, that takes away from my enjoyment. So if it's not a world that's well put together, for sure, I'm not going to enjoy it as much. So that is still enjoyment factor for me.
I guess we both, with world building, you're right, it needs to be well put together, and that if it's not, then you're not going to enjoy it as much. You're not enjoying that book because you're either confused or bored or both. If a book makes me feel stupid because I'm not sure what's going on, I'm not going to like I'll give it a very good rating.
This is true.
It's like I don't enjoy feeling stupid.
Yes.
Okay, so we hope you've enjoyed our video. I don't know if this might have confused you more about our ratings or helped, so let us know in the comments.
Hopefully it was helpful.
And like I said, sometimes maybe not ignore the rating, but read the review. We are really honest in our review about what we've thought about the book. So yeah, if you're not sure what the rating means, just read the review and we will tell you exactly what we thought about the book. If you rate and review books, let us know how you do it. What is your 5-star kind of read? What is your 1-star kind of read?
What is your 3-star kind of read? Because I feel like that is the controversy.
The mid-range is where it gets confused.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, let us know, do you DNF books? Like, what makes you DNF a book?
And do you write DNF reviews?
Oh yeah. Would you post a negative review? Have we maybe swayed what you think about whether or not a DNF review should or should not be posted? Please let us know.
Yes.
So as we said, it's our Blogiversary week and we do have some prize packs for you all. So They are all ready and waiting. They are mystery books, so we're not going to tell you what's in there.
Yeah, mysteries, mystery as in we're not telling you, not mystery as in they're mystery genre.
Yeah, we know.
Let me just clarify that. We know what they are. You won't know what they are until you get them.
Yes, that is true. Sorry. And we're also giving away some UTC mugs. Very exclusive. There are only, is it 3 or 4? 4. 4 up for grabs. So the details of how to enter will be in the show notes, so please check that out. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, share this with your friends, and please follow us on social media. We enjoy the love. Yes. We need it. We need it. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye.